Welcome to this lecture. From this lecture, we'll just start using this website, which is hackthissite.org, and this is the website which will have some of the missions based on the JavaScript code. We'll search for some of the tricks in this mission, and we'll just get good grasp on how this JavaScript code works on the real website. We'll see how this can be worked on the websites, on the live website in the upcoming lecture. But from here, we'll just work with the basic missions, some of the missions that will be really useful for the later lectures. So first of all you have to do is go to this website, which is hackthissite.org, and you will just get redirected to this website. And first of all, in the left hand side, you will just get the sign in button. So you have to just log on to your that email or just register. And after registering that email, just make sure you just give the proper email, because it will just check for your email and it will just send the password to your email. So after that, you will just go to this left hand side challenges. So all we'll just go here is the JavaScript mission. So let me just press on that JavaScript mission. We'll just get these 7 challenges. Maybe let me just count. Okay, these are 7 challenges. So first of all, we'll just start with this idiot test. So let me just click here to take the challenge. So we just click on the left, or basically on the wrong link. So let me just take the challenge. So we'll just get this link or the next page, which is our first JavaScript mission. So here all you have to do is search for the password. So let me just put random password here. So let me say Udemy. So if I just click to this check password, it will say failed. So now what we do have to do is we have to check for the password, which will be the only one password that will just give us the next mission. So all you have to do is just press Ctrl U from your keyboard, or simply you can just get here, that is view page source. So after you do that, you will just get this page which will have all of your HTML documents, all of the link, and we'll just go to this part, which is basically check password button. So we'll just search that. So simply press Ctrl F. It will get this find in page. I'll just say check password, and if I just say check, it will get me this basically this part of the document. And you will see here we have the check password button over here, which will be this button, which is the check password button, and it will just check for this JavaScript. So on click was the event which was basically invoking some of the JavaScript code when you just press this check password button. So when you just press this check password, some of the JavaScript code is going to be executed, and here what it is going to be executed is this check method. So this check method will be executed, and it will just check for some of the password, and it will just give you that. So first of all, what we're doing here is this check method is basically is this function over here. So this check method has to be passed some of the values which we just entered in this field. So this field will have some values, and that values will be passed to this check method. So this check method is responsible for checking our password. So here is the some conditionals, and you will see that if x is basically the password that you just hit here. So if that x, which is basically our password, is equal, because this double equal is basically for your equal to, and when that password is equal to cookies, you will get alert, which is basically saying that you win. Otherwise it will say false. That means our password should be cookies, all in the lowercase. So let me just pass that cookies. Let me press check password, then it will say win. That means you have just redirect to this congratulation page because we just pass here cookies. So that means what we did here was we just passed the cookies as a password, and it has get us an alert of win, which was basically simple dialog box. So here we just made use of this check method to check for our password. So if you see in this windows.location, so this was responsible for creating a URL. So if you just go back here, you will see the URL over here, which is saying that, let me just remove this part and go back to level 1, then it will get you the same mission. So after this mission, it will just inject this Windows location. Basically this is responsible for creating the URL. So it is saying you just pass in this level password. So it is same as saying you will just pass here. Let me paste first this, and here you will pass cookies because cookies is our password. So this windows.location is responsible for creating the URL. So we just pass label password here, and that password field, which is basically with this parameter. So just remember, anything with this question mark, after this question mark is the parameter. So here we have the parameter. So if you just go on the Google, let me say something like, let me say Sachin Tendulkar. So you'll see that we have the parameter over here, that is with the question mark. So you are searching on the Google, and it is showing that when you just press Sachin Tendulkar, you will just get this link. So what we have here is the question mark and the client. So client is a Firefox, and the another parameter here is Q, which is basically a question, and it is searching a basically query for the Sachin Tendulkar. That means this is the another parameter, which is Q, and we have here that is the label password, which is the parameter. So in this label password, if you just pass cookies, then it will say that, so it hasn't, but it should work. And let me, so something is happening over here because it is not redirecting perfectly, but it should be cookies. Maybe we have just disabled JavaScript, so it should be something like cookies. And here you can see you have changed your password to this another field, and it is not showing that same. So if I just hit enter, then it will say that you have redirect to the congratulation page. So just remember, anything that starts with this question mark is your parameter. In the upcoming lecture where we'll just hunt for the XSS attack, you'll see how this parameter will be vulnerable, and we'll just inject some of the payload in this parameter to see if the websites have the XSS attack or not. So this is our first challenge, and we just pass our first challenge. So let's go back over here. So again we have to just redirect to the JavaScript mission. Let me just remove all of this, and here the next challenge is the simple challenge. It is just showing us to disable the JavaScript. So if you are Mozilla, then all you have to do is go to this option, and instead of preference, I have to do config. So I'll just say config, and it will just give this message, and I'll just say I'll accept the risks, source for JavaScript, and you'll say in this second parameter here saying that JavaScript.enabled, you have to toggle this value to false. So all you have to do is false this, which is modified. And if you just go back here and refresh this page, and you didn't disable because, okay, so first of all you have to disable this, and we have already. So now if you just close the browser and restart it again, it will just go to the congratulation page, but I don't want to do that. So all I'll do is just make it true. You can just test it because this is a simple challenge. So all you have to do is simply disabling the JavaScript, which is a pretty funny challenge because this doesn't make any sense, but all you have to do is to know how to just make use of this JavaScript. If you are on a Chrome, you can simply search for the JavaScript on the search panel on the settings, and you can just toggle this value to disable. So it is simple and funny challenge. So next challenge is a math time challenge. So let's take this challenge. So it is giving us some of the math problem over here. Let me grab my pen first, and if you just remember, we are just okay. So first of all, I have to make this smaller. So let me just remove this. Let me clear this first. Take my pencil again. So we have now here variable, and in this variable what you have is you have created some of this operation over here. So simply what we did here was we just created the foo variable, and we just assigned some variable or some value to it. So all you have to do is just simply calculate this value, and I guess its value should be something about 47. So let's check this. So I think it's 47. So let's go over here. So I have just opened the calculator, and now I'll just pass 5 plus 6 plus 7, which is basically simple 5 plus, okay, so this is not the plus, so I have to just clear this 5, and it is plus 7. Okay, it was into 7. Okay, and we get 47. So 47 was the operation over here, and we get the 47. Now the next is the variable, which is bar variable, and it is going to just do something like 47, and it will do the modulo of 8. So what we did just here is we want to divide first 47 with 8 and get the remainder. So this modulo sign is basically getting a remainder, and it will just store to bar. So let me show you 47, and it should be modulo of 8. So what we did here was 47, and first of all you have to divide by 8. Okay, let me create this first. 47 modulo, and it is 8. Okay, this is simply a modulo, so it is dividing, so this should be 47, and divide it first of all with 8, and you will get something that values 5.875. so that means you have to just grab whatever is the remainder. So remainder here would be 7, because if you just multiply again with 8 and multiplied by 5, you will get 40, and the remainder would be here, that is simply 7. So if you just see here, we just divided 47, which is the value of 4. So here it would be 47, and 47 modulo of 8 would give you 7, because 47, because let me show you, 47 and it is divided by 8 would give you something like 5, which is basically not a remainder. Remainder would be 7, and we just store this 7 to this bar. So now bar will have 7, and now we have the mo. So this variable was created with the bar, which has the value of 7, and if you multiplied 7 with 2, you will get something like 14, and the 14 would be to check over here. So this rar is something like you can do over here, so it will be something like 14 divided by 3. If you divide this, it will get you the something like 3 4. Here the value is 4, so you'll get the 4 over here, but this is useless because rar is not doing anything inside this function. All we care is about this mo. So moo value was 14, so we'll just pass here 14. So what this function is doing is it is just taking our password, which is the field, which is the password over here, and it is checking for that length. If that length was 14, it will give the alert. It will change basically our URL to this label password with the new password here with the length of 14. If the password length is anything other than the length of 14, it will give us alert of false. So let me just try with RRRR. So it will have the length of 4. Let me check the password. It will say incorrect password again because it is going over here. And now again, if I just check with the basically 14, so we have to just check for the 14, and it should have the 14 length. So I'm just checking for, so I'm just putting 14 character over here. Let me just check password, and it is saying you have already done the mission because I have already passed the mission. So I have just redirect to this congratulations page, and if you haven't done this mission or you are doing this for the first time, you'll just get the congratulations page. So we have now completed this 3 tests in this lecture. So we have completed the 3 challenges. Now let's take these 4 challenges. So as usual, just press Ctrl U or see the source code, Ctrl F for checking the password. So you are just getting this button again, and it is going to just call this check function with anything you write on that field, which is this field over here. So now what you're gonna do is just search for the check function, which is right over here. So here what is happening or what is going over here. So let's check this. So let me just Control C, and let me just go over here and left click and run the console. So I'll just say inspect element first and run the console. Let me just clear this real quick. Let me just paste this down. It is going to say me a false or 0. That means it is doing nothing. It is just checking one string with another string. So if you just see here, double equal is for equal to. It is not assigning. It is just checking if this string is equal to this string, which is obviously not, because this is Hackthissite and this is the content with another basically another thing which is not this Hackthissite. If it was something like Hackthissite or equal Hackthissite, let me just say that this is hack or this site, it is going to give us that is true because this string is equal to this string. But here it is not true because this string is obviously not equal to that string. So this doesn't make any sense. So this was doing nothing over here. All we interest is in this if condition, which has our password, because we just pass anything you write over here as a x to this function check. So our password has been checked with this part. So let's see what is this. So if I just copy this and just go right here, then you could see now we have something that this double quote. So let me just make this as a string too. So instead of this rar wr, which is obviously the variable in this case, but I want to just make this as a string. So I'll just put here double quote, and if I just hit enter, it is going to give us the rar because this part in the beginning and in the end is basically the empty. That means all we count is over here. As I have just manipulated this variable is a string, but here it is the string, or basically it is a variable. So rar is a variable, not a string. So all we want to just check is only this variable, what is the content of this variable, because anything over here which is concatenate at the beginning and at the end is only the empty. That means we'll only check for the variable rar. So if we just get the values of rar and rar, we'll get this message. Otherwise it will just say no, try again. So let's do something like OP, I'll just say OP, and let's see, raw, nope, try again, which was basically calling this else part here. So I want to just get the content of RAWR, which is, let's see where it is. So let's see, it should be, let's search for this. So I'll just say RAWR, array. Okay, it is, what is here? So okay, it is just over here in my case, but it can be somewhere beyond for you. So all you have to do is search for the variable. So it was right at the corner, right at the right hand side for my case, which is just over here. I think they have just made this intentionally so as to just make user, or the basically the hacker, not to get easily access to this mo. So basically our password would be mo, because we have this variable as a mo. So if I just go back and just pass here moo, let's check this password, it should give me alert RAWR win. So all you do is you have just made this variable look so easy with this, just checking this method, only the check method, just checking for this variable and getting the alert. So we can do the another method over here. So all I have to do is inspect the element in this same Hackthissite. So I'll just go to the console, and if you just remember here, all you have to get is the content of RAWR and RAWR. So let me just copy this, because this is the variable. Let me just paste this down here. It is going to give us a more. So I'll just copy this content, and as you know, we're going to get the correct output over here. Let me check the password, and it is the same password over here. So you can also do something like let me say the injection. So you can just change the variable content and make your own password over here. So let me just press again to go to this inspect element and go to the console. And if you just remember here, all we have to do is get the content of RAWR and RAWR. So let me just go again, and okay, it should be RAWR, this variable. Let me see, it's contented more. So what if you don't want this RAWR to be more? What if you want to say something like go? And now the password would be go. So let's check if this is valid or not. So if I just press here go instead of more, let me just check password, and it is saying RAWR win. So I'm just passing here go, and now after you just press that, and if you just go out of this console, it will say incorrect password again, because you are just doing the injection to the JavaScript to this particular website. So this can be really handy if you just make use of the XSS attack and giving the JavaScript and HTML injection to this current document. And we'll learn about the HTML injection and the XSS attack hunting, or basically how to get the XSS attack from the making payload, your own payload, from using the burp suite in the upcoming lecture. So here what we did was we just make a simple JavaScript injection, and we change the original value of the RAWR variable to our own password, and we just made there a injection which is known as the JavaScript injection. So we just completed our var. So we can just make use of this escape, go away, and the obfuscation, which is the important lecture in the. Now let's take the another challenge, which is our escape challenge. So let's see how this is. So first of all, as always, let's see the page source, pressing Ctrl U, Ctrl F for finding our check, which is check password over here, which is the button. And this is also going to call the check method as usual. So let's see this check method now. So where is our check method, which is over here? So function is same as the method. So this function is going to just check for the x. So if the x is equal to more, So let's see what is more. So more is just a wrap here. So what is it is doing is it is just calling this onEscape method again with this bunch of a character over here. So if you just grab this character, let me just control C, go back to this Hackthissite, and if I just press control V, let's check the password. Nope, try again. So that means this is not valid. It is basically encoded in the form so that the browser won't give you this basically the way to just go inside the system. That means it is just encoding here. So it is the way to just encode some of the characters in the HTML so that the password will be hidden, or basically the access to the system would be difficult for the hackers. So this is the way where you just make or encode the character in the HTML. So let's see how to decode this. So if I just go to this website W3 schools and see over here, we have a bunch of a URL encoding over here, and you could see we have different character encoding in the UTF-8, and basically it is different for uppercase and it is also different for the lowercase. So if I see here, I have the I in the lowercase, which have that is %69 as a UTF-8 character encoding in HTML, and if I see over here, the first character is encoded as %69. That means if I just go over here, it is I in the small, that is %69. That means the first character of our password would be I. Let's see the another one, and it is %6c. So if I just go here and search for %6c, you could see right over here, which is %6c saying L. So next one would be L, and again you could see simply that it is %6f. So it should be right over here, which is the small o. So you should guess now it should be something like I love. So if I just go, this is the boring way. So let's see some of the advanced way. So let's go over here, and what we want to check is the value of the mo. So if you just get the value of the mo, you will just get all of the characters. So let's go over here and run the console in this page. So I'll just go to the inspect element, run the console, and I just want the mo. Let's see the mo, and it is giving us these values, which is I love mo. This must be our password. So let's go over here, let's paste this I love mo, let's check the password. So that what means, that means we have just got our password, which was encoded in the HTML format, and you can just get all of these from here too. But instead of doing that, we just get from the console, which is basically getting our JavaScript injection, or basically getting our JavaScript variable from the basically the console. So we have just got our escape challenge successfully. Let's see another challenge. Let's take this go away challenge. So it is also similar as before. Let's see the page source, control F for check password, and now it's quite different. So as always, we have the check password, and it is not calling our check method as usual. It is checking for the check pass. So whatever you just write in this field will be just called with the check pass. Basically what we have done here is this field is going to take your password, and that password will be just given as a argument to this check pass method. So let's check for this check pass method. So I'll just say check pass. So check pass is not here. So check pass is not inside this document. If you see, we have only the check. So this method is not going to be executed when we just pass this value over here. And if you see here, it has another method which is check pass, but in this case it has w. That means this is not the same method as check pass. All we want is check pass method, which is not over here. But if you just see here, we have the next script. So let me just grab this tag. First of all, let me just copy and go here in my Sublime. Let me just paste it down here. So this is the way to inject the external JS file to this document. So if you just see here, it has the type, which is obviously the JavaScript type, and the source attribute. So we have already studied that if you want to inject the script from the another file which is not inside this same document, you can just give this attribute as src and provide the path where you have the check pass, or basically where you have the JavaScript file. So in this case we have the checkpass.js file inside this link. So let me press this, and you could simply see checkpass method has been hidden inside that link. It was not inside this path, or basically inside here. It was basically given as a link in the src attribute to make hidden from the quick access for the user. So that means checkpass has been hidden inside the link. Let's see what this checkpass does. It will just take the pass, which is our password. It will just check for this. So let me just copy this, go over here, paste this. So this should be our password. So let's check first for the ROR, which is basically, if you see, it has the value of mo, so it should be mo, and this thing is just giving us a space, so that means it should have space after mo, and we have the value of mo is pwns over here, so it should be pwns. So this should be our password. So let's see if this is the password or not. So let me just paste it down here and press the check password, and it is saying the good job. So that means we have successfully done the next mission. That means we are over here. We just completed our go away challenge. So we have now next moderate challenge, which is important challenge until now. So this will be covering with the same website, that is hackthissite.org. And we have completed our 6 challenges in the previous couple of lectures, but now we have the important lecture, which is obfuscation. So first of all, let me just click on this link which is saying take this challenge. So this is one of the moderate challenges, saying that this is the JS obfuscation, which is JavaScript obfuscation. So first of all, let's see what this obfuscation means, and we have the Wikipedia link over here, and it is saying that obfuscation is the deliberate act of the creating source of a machine code that is difficult for human to understand. That means you are just wrapping or making the code, which is a JavaScript code, that won't be easy for the human to understand. That means it is not simple like when you just make an alert. So if you just write something like alert, it would be converted into the form that would be very difficult for human to understand. That won't be something like alert. It will be converted to hexadecimal code or something like advanced code that won't be easily understandable by the humans. Like obfuscation in the natural language, it may use or basically needlessly a roundabout expression to compose statements. That means it would be random and it would be created so that it won't be understand for the humans, so that it would be difficult to do the reverse engineering. That means it will be difficult for human to crack the code, which is basically the way to just make your code much more efficient and much more difficult for the hackers to understand. So let's see some of the tool which is available online. So we have the obfuscator.io. so let's see how this works. So you are just getting your basically JavaScript code, which is just the function saying hi. You can just customize this function of your own, and it is just giving us hello world. It is just printing the hello world to our console. So when you just create this JavaScript code, let's obfuscate this code. So let's see how the obfuscate work. So you have a couple of functions over here. You can get the some of the ways to obfuscate, and I'm just making the hexadecimal generator over here. So let's press this link to obfuscate, and you are getting this link over here. So you can see your code, which was simple JavaScript code saying hello world, has been obfuscated to something like this, which is very much difficult to understand for the hackers. So what you are doing here was just creating the variable, or basically what you have just created the functions. You won't be understanding what is going over here. You have the while. Why we need while is basically the way, or basically it is making the hackers or for ourselves to understand that basically it is very difficult. You have the different function why this is over here, or basically the simple code, which was simple, this code has been transformed to something the way that won't be able for the hackers to be understandable. So this can be the way for the developer to just wrap their code so that it won't be easily cracked by the hackers. So this is the obfuscate. That means you are making your code, that is your transformation of the code, that will be difficult for human to understand. So that means we can just expect something like the way that the simple function will be wrapped something like this, or basically like this, which was our output. So we would expect that they will obfuscate their code to something like this. So they will just wrap the variable like this, they will just wrap the functions, or the DOM method will be just made something like this, so that it won't be easy for us to crack what they are doing. So let's try. First of all, let's press Ctrl U, Ctrl F. Let's see password, and we have find the password over here. So let's see what is the JS obfuscation, or what they are doing over here. Let's search that. So if you see here, as we have told here that it should be something like this, and as expected we have something like this over here. So this is our JavaScript code. So let me just copy this, all of this, because you would expect that anything inside this script tag would be your JavaScript code. So let me just run my Sublime and paste it over here. So what is this, man? So this is your obfuscate code. So you are just getting this code where you have the two statement, because as you know, the JavaScript codes or the one line code will just end with this semicolon. That means you have here the two statement. First statement is this, and the second one is over here. So let's see how we can just crack this code. So first of all, let me just see what this variable is. So let me just grab this, Ctrl C, and as usual we'll just get this console from here. We'll just inspect the element, go to the console, paste it right over here, and as you see, this is the array. So this is the array that has from char code and the right. That means let's go over here, and this has the content of this. So I'll just copy all of this, as this is array. Let me just go back and paste it over here. So we have just get the variable, which was this variable, and if you see over here that this variable has something like this. So let me just copy this and go back and see what this is all about. So it is right. That means what we are doing here, let me just go over here, grab my pen real quick. So let me just grab this. So we have this variable, which is this random variable over here too, as you can see over here, and this bunch of code is just assessing the element of this array. So basically this is same as saying this is 1. So this object is referring to this. An array starts with 0 and the 1. So you are saying document, and inside that you are just putting this right, because this is the way to assess the element of the array. This is the one of the way. We can also assess the element of the array with the dot, and this is the another way to access the element of the array. So what we have done here is we just get the right. That means we'll just remove all of this and we'll just pass here as right, so it should be right. And after that we have this string, so let me just grab all of these from here. So I'll just grab up to this, let me just copy, let me just go back here, let me paste all of these, that is your string. Let me just hit enter. Okay, so we are getting some of the JavaScript code over here. So let me just grab this code and let me copy the message, go back to the Sublime, let me paste over here. So what we are doing is basically we have the code over here, and let me just remove this bunch of a thing we don't need. So we have now clean JavaScript code. So let me just remove this part too. And now we're familiar with the button tag, and this button tag is just showing the check password, which was obfuscated with this bunch of a code. So it was hidden with this code basically, and you can also do this with the online tool. So we just get now our clean JavaScript code. So let's see what is going over here. So we have the event which is on click, and it is just checking with these conditionals, that is saying if the password is equal to this value, then it will give us a alert message saying that you win. Otherwise it will just give something that with the else part, that it is wrong and you should just try again. That means we are having the clean code right here. So in order to win, the value should be this. So let me just copy this. If the value or the password is this, we'll just get a alert of win, otherwise it will just say wrong. So let's go back to our Mozilla, let's click Hackthissite, and this should be our password. Let me paste this down, check password, and it is saying you win. So this is the way to just see for the obfuscation, and it is the advanced concept in the JavaScript where you hide the code so as the hackers won't get your code so easily. But we have the online tools like this in order to just crack for this obfuscated code also. And this is the way so that you can just try, and we have just completed all of our challenges of the missions, which are the simple and a basic challenge.